Cotton Eye Joe, I bet your neck out a long time ago. Welcome back to the Walking Dead series finale. Take away 7 seasons, we're back on 4. Season finale A. Why is it called A? Because there's a train car called A. And this was a crock of shit, wasn't it, this episode?
Yeah, it was a ginormous...
A ginormous pile of mince. You know what? I actually thought the episode was alright, but as a season finale, I think it was weak.
Yeah, we got lots of flashbacks to when Rick was going through his whole farmer gimmick. I'm not sure that was necessary. Herschel's trying to teach him you gotta show Carl the ropes. You can't always be a gunslinger, Rick. You gotta plant seeds and you gotta grow vegetables.
No, I am gonna hoover Herschel's logic clean at the window because see in real life, like the real world, Herschel, farmers not like the few people in countries that don't even allow guns. They have guns, and you want Rick to go farming in a zombie apocalypse without his holster, without his guns?
Yeah, doesn't Herschel know what kind of people are out there?
He was a fucking farmer.
I mean, does he just think that if Rick puts away his guns, everyone outside's going to put away their guns, and the group's not going to come under any danger?
Well, what would have happened if Rick was staying his farm and then the governor pulled up again, and Rick's got a carrot instead of a revolver? What's he got to do? The black's behind the white. The tank's behind the prison wall, and it's all over. But it was good seeing Herschel, man. But I mean, we're gonna pretend it was the greatest thing ever? No, but Rick's sitting there. There's blood dripping off his knuckles. We're back to the present. We've got Rick, Carl, and Michonne. We're camping out in the woods. They're trying to get some animals. But then what happens? We have got a magical guy screaming. Carl's like, "I need to go save him." He runs out. Rick can't keep up. Right, so this guy, I'd say about 20, 15 walkers surrounding him. Multiple gaps for him to run through. He's like, "Help me!" Awful.
Carl wants to help him. Rick says we can't help him for some strange reason. Then the guy just continues to try and swing his bat to hit walkers, and then the walkers just start eating him, and he gets devoured.
This is a death that would happen on day 1 of the apocalypse, not 2 years in. I'm sorry. How could you have survived this long if you die in this situation?
Yeah, what a shit way to die.
It's not even like he got bit. He got caught. He got chunked out of him. I'm sorry. I hate this, man. The Walking Dead is just a show that has this for plot purposes, and it needs to get cut out the show. This is happening in the Daryl show, which is 20 years in the future. You cannot be getting killed like this. This would be Steven Seagal in Under Siege 3 getting killed by a pizza delivery boy or something.
That ain't gonna happen.
No, exactly. It shouldn't happen, but Carl raises his gun. Rick gets him up against the tree, and not in a weird way. He's like, "No, don't do it." The guy dies, and then they fall back onto the train tracks. Flashback. Rick walks in. He's like, "You need to leave your gun, Rick." Then Beth looks after Judith. We see Patrick playing with some Lego. That is a bit later on. But how much of a jobber is this Patrick kid? The Lego is actually for Carl, but he's hoovered it off him because Carl's cleaning the guns.
Yeah, plus he's quite a bit older than Carl.
I'm not embarrassed. It says it's for 4 to 12. Rick's like, "You should be." Rick should fucking kill him. I think Rick's got the Cena effect. I never rated Rick, but I think once he left The Walking Dead, you realised that, this guy was actually...
I agree, yeah. It's see, when Rick was there, you kind of I hate this boring bastard. But when he left, you're kind of nah, we need him back.
Rick Nation.
I miss Rick.
I miss Rick, damn it. And then, pretty much out of nowhere, him and Michonne are sitting there, Carl's having a sleep. And then Joe's group just attacked them. Would it not have been better if we seen Joe's group's perspective?
Closing in on them?
Yeah, it's
I guess you could argue we seen the candy bar wrapper last episode, but I mean, come on.
I know, Daryl claiming a bunch of strawberries, that's it.
And this whole attack for Joe's group, it was a bit weird, I get it, right? Rick killed Lou, and I guess Joe wants to get revenge because he believes that they should avenge their fallen comrade or whatever. But, I mean, Joe, up until this point, seems like a reasonable guy. I'm not going to say he's a good guy. I don't think he's going to win, Person of the Year or anything like that. But he did have this code. I think he looked like he had several morals. He didn't seem like a complete and utter degenerate. He didn't seem like a scum of the earth, in my opinion. But this scene where they just attack Rick, Michonne, and Carl, it just felt very odd. All of a sudden, one of the guys in Joe's group wants to molest Carl out of absolutely nowhere. I think the rest of them want to have their turn with Michonne or whatnot, and Joe's going to be like, I'm going to make you watch kind of deal. And It just seems like this guy's just. I don't know if they're trying to make them worse than the governor, like, but it kind of seems that way.
Yeah, it kind of felt out of place in a way. I mean, maybe you could say Joe was hiding who he was because he knew with Daryl could have been an asset to his group. Like, if they found Daryl and Beth, I don't think it would have ended well for Beth, put it that way.
No, but Daryl even says later on that he didn't know they were like that.
I guess he didn't.
But we didn't know they were like that either.
What we could say is they didn't interact with anyone in between finding Daryl and this scene, so. But hey, I think it came out of pocket, and the last time I expected was, Carl to be getting, touched by this guy with a knife. Rick, though, he's being held at gunpoint. Joe coming across quite strong here. I mean, Rick sticks the head clean through him, and then Joe just batters him for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, now Daryl says these are good people. Let them go. Joe doesn't think they're good people because they killed Lou, and then he starts doing a countdown. I think he was going to shoot Rick when he got to 0. I don't know why Daryl just didn't say claimed 3 of them, and then says, no, I've claimed them. They're my property. Then let them go.
And then Joe might have been breaking his own code.
I wonder what would have happened.
I think he would have went, nah, that's a load of shit.
What, he would have just said, no, the claim code's out the window.
This is different. This is a found one of our brothers.
Nah, I think Daryl should have tried that. I think the fact he didn't claim them was ridiculous.
Yeah, what's Daryl's end game though? Oh, you want blood? Take me. But the beef ain't with you.
Well, it turned out to be with Daryl because Joe says Daryl said they're good people. They're obviously not good people. He's going to vouch for Lou that Rick's not a good person. And then they beat up Daryl for lying. And then it was just awkward with Carl getting some big fat guy on top of him.
Humping him.
Then we had a really fucking weird scene where it was Michonne like quickly attempted to try and pull a gun on one of the guys, and he just kind of like bitch slapped her. And that made 0 sense to me. That scene looked like it was just in there to give Michonne something to do. Yeah. I didn't like that.
No, I can't actually remember what that guy's name is, but that's the guy who actually spotted Rick, isn't it? On the bed, yeah, him. We get to the scene with Rick. So Rick sticks the head through Joe. Joe's taunting him. He's like, "What you gonna do now, sport?" And it's like, no, I don't get about this. I get it. Rick, the gun went off in his ear, so he's ringing. But his son is literally about to get raped. Michonne is going to suffer that same fate. Daryl's going to get beat to death, and you're going to get shot. And this is the fight he puts up. Like, I get it. He goes to all lengths to bite his throat out. Right, pretty badass for Rick, but he got his fucking ass handed to him again, didn't he?
Yeah, Joe was handling Rick, but then he got him in a bear hug, and Rick just turned into Walker Rick and bit Joe's throat, and this killed Joe, and then it offered a distraction, and Daryl and Michonne managed to get the upper hand on the others, and they killed. I mean, it was all over in like 10 seconds. Then the only one left was the big fat guy that was trying to molest Carl. He asked for forgiveness, but Rick's like, he's mine. And Rick went over and just like stabbed the shit out of him and killed him and gutted him. And Carl watched on while Michonne tried to comfort Carl and obviously try and maybe hide him from the monster that he was looking at, which obviously is his father, Rick Grimes. So, it ended way too quickly, in my opinion. It went from Rick's group was in danger, and then literally like 10 seconds later, everyone in Joe's group has been wiped out.
Yeah. You know what? I thought it was a really good scene with Rick biting Joe's throat out, and then I actually felt like the way he killed the pedophile guy. Good death, justified. Any complaints with what Rick did here? He did what had to be done.
No, but my complaint is the next day, Daryl's like speaking to Rick, and he offers some water to clean his face. Rick's like, nah, we need it to drink, and Daryl says to Rick, yeah, you can't see yourself. Obviously suggesting that, nah, look, you've got blood all over you. We can see it, you can't. You need to clean that shit off. And then Daryl tries to, I guess, comfort Rick, and he says to Rick, reassure him that, he did what anyone else would do. And I didn't think that made sense, because I think that this scene was kind of showing us that Rick is willing to go, he's willing to resort to whatever fucking levels it takes to save Carl. So I think when Daryl says you done what anyone else would have done, I think that kind of downplayed the effect.
Yeah, I agree.
This is supposed to be a massive fucking moment. It's like, holy shit, Rick just tore this guy's throat out.
Like a walker.
This is supposed to, we've never seen this side of Rick before. Yet Daryl says to him the next morning, don't worry, Rick, anybody would have done that. I mean, is that true?
I guess he's trying to say it though to like comfort Rick in a way. It's like, you did what any father would do.
Yeah, but I thought it downplayed the whole ripping the throat out scene, in my opinion.
Yeah, but really, I don't know why Daryl said it, but would Rick really care if like there's people on the planet that wouldn't do that at the end of the day?
All right, but okay, let's say someone's got Carl at like gunpoint, and they're like 500 miles away, and Rick pulls out a sniper and no scopes the guy for 500 miles away. Yeah. Then Daryl says the next morning, "I don't worry about it, Rick. Anybody would have done the same thing in your shoes." No, they wouldn't have. That's fucking a damn near impossible shot to make. Point is, that's impressive.
Casey Ryback could do it.
The point is that Rick doing that was like groundbreaking. I remember when this first happened, people were like, holy shit, Rick just ripped this guy's throat out. This was like a last resort. This was like a Hail Mary for Rick.
Aye.
But Daryl...
7 seconds on the clock.
But Daryl was like trying to downplay it as if, it's alright, Rick, anyone would have done that. I don't think anyone would have done that. What, you telling me Tyrese would have done that?
No, of course he wouldn't have. I don't even think Daryl would have did it.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was such a massive fucking thing that Rick done.
I'd say up to this point, there's only 2 other people that would have done it. I think Shane would have. And I think the governor would have, because he bit Merle's fingers off, so I may as well go for the neck next.
Why not? Or any random walker. I might have done it, like,
so,
but...
So free, but... yeah, I mean, like you said, Daryl downplayed.
I mean, if it was a kid, Carol probably would have done it.
Yeah, well, true, but you've got Daryl explaining what happened to Beth, and when I say explaining, very vividly, he says, she's gone. Like, no, here, she got kidnapped, there's a car, had a white cross on the back of it. Literally just says she's gone. Yeah, Rick, what can Rick... Well, I get it, Rick doesn't really give a fuck about Beth.
Well, Rick did ask it, is she dead? And Daryl's like, no, she's just gone.
Why did they need to be so fake?
But this has been a problem for the entire second half. I've brought it up before. It's like, nobody seems to care about the other members. Like, shouldn't everyone be looking for each other? The only people that have been looking for each other is Glenn and Maggie. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Right, Rick's traumatized, right?
Why are Rick and Daryl not saying to each other, look, we need to try and find the rest of the group?
Have you seen any, like, sign of anyone else?
Or say, like, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna go about searching, what's the plan? Do we go to Terminus, check that out, and then try and search and find all the members of our group? Why are they not bringing this up? I don't understand it.
I just don't understand, like, Rick. Like, why is he not questioning, like, Daryl, like, saying, well, what do you mean she's gone? Where's she gone to? I get it, he's traumatized after what happened, but you think he would have some intrigue of what happened, where she is? Like, Daryl's just announced that a member of your group is gone, and there's no mention of it anyway. I mean, we've also got Michonne explaining, like, the full story to Carl. This did nothing for me. This is filler. Terry, Mike, some other guy.
It's not filler. The reason she's done it is because she can see that Carl is maybe afraid and scared of his dad after what he did to Joe. So Michonne was basically saying, look, we've all done things that we're not proud of, and this is the thing that she's not proud of. So that's what she was going for. Plus, I guess at least it ties up and we understand why she was walking around with walkers, I guess, and that used to be people that used to be friends of ours. So I don't think it was filler.
Is it really comparable, though? I mean, Rick's saved the group here. Like, biting a guy's throat, a bad guy's throat. I mean, Michonne let these guys turn and...
No, I mean, well, you could argue what Michonne done was worse.
It's way worse.
Because what Rick done was necessary to survive. What Michonne done was kind of just cruel and punishing people that she blamed for the death of her child. So yeah, I would say what Michonne done was worse, but I believe the whole point is she was just trying to say to Carl, look, sometimes we do things that we're not proud of. And I wasn't proud of what I done, so...
True, but Carl should have been like, what you did was worse, Michonne.
Just give your dad a break.
Give him a break.
They arrive at Terminus. Rick decides, like, at this point, we're going to get off the tracks. And we're just going to go in through the woods. We're going to infiltrate it. And they do go through the woods. They climb over a fence. They don't come through the front entrance. They sneak into the back. And that's it. They're in Terminus.
They do bury the guns as well, so...
Yeah, they bury some guns outside. And when they meet some of the first people in Terminus, they say they wanted to see them first before they could see them, which I guess makes a bit of sense. We then get some more members. Aaron, or Adam, what's the guy called? Aaron?
Gareth,
that's the one. Gareth's the leader. He says, look, you can join, you can get your safe haven here, but you just have to put your guns down, we have to check you out. And it's like, Rick was so cautious, and then out of nowhere, he kind of just, like, buys into it and lets his guard down. I don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't really get this. I think the best plan here would have been like two of them go in and like two of them scope it out.
What happened from them going through the woods and climbing in through the back entrance? What happened from that point to the point where Gareth says, I'm going to have to ask you to put your guns down, and then Rick's, the four of them just agreeing to do it?
Yeah, and it's like,
They'd spoke to them for about 30 seconds.
aye, there's no proof.
Why would, I mean, it's just weird that Rick was cautious enough to go in the back door. He didn't trust them. But then all of a sudden, after having a little 30-second conversation with Gareth, he was like, aye, sure, we'll put our guns down. So they get introduced, they go to the main entrance, they're cooking them some food. Is this, what food is this? What kind of meat's this? Well, we find out.
Don't fucking eat it.
Who knows? But Rick then begins to notice things, and I don't think Daryl or Michonne noticed, but Rick was looking around, and we've seen some familiar items. We've seen
One of the things was actually Daryl's. How did he not notice the poncho?
Yeah, I didn't understand that. But Daryl didn't notice it. We also seen the riot gear from the prison. There was something else that we seen.
Pocket watch,
No, not the pocket,
poncho,
it was-
riot gear. There was the backpack, the hitchhiker's backpack.
The hitchhiker's backpack, and then I think the last straw for Rick was when he seen the pocket watch that belonged to Herschel
Because there's no way.
that Herschel gave to Glenn, and he's like, okay. So he holds this guy gunpoint. He's like, where the fuck did you get this? And he's like, we got it off a walker. Then he asks, where did you get the prison gear? And he's like, got it off a dead walker as well. But Rick just doesn't buy it anymore. So he's got his gun out, and the four of them are trying to hold as many Terminus people hostage as they can, but they're outnumbered massively. They start running, they're getting shot at, but you can see straight away that they're not trying to kill them. The Terminus people are shooting. They're basically blocking off their paths.
Like, they're directing them somewhere, is essentially what they're doing, right? And then seeing you get into, why is there no, like, Rick points out, Daryl points out, Michonne points out that, here, they're not trying to kill us, they're shooting around us. That means they're trying to direct you somewhere. Should you not regroup inside the building? And also, Michonne bringing a knife to a gunfight isn't doing anyone any favours at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Michonne's running around with her katana, and like, what can you do it? Should she not have a gun as well?
Yeah, like,
I get it. The katana's her main weapon of choice, and they want her to look badass. They want her to look unique, and I get that. But should she not have a pistol?
of course you should. And you know what? This is actually quite a risky plan for the termites. I think that's what they're called, isn't it?
Termites.
Because, like, these are good shots. Who they're shooting at, like Rick and Co. Like,
Yeah,
how
I mean-
easily could they get dropped here?
It's funny because normally Rick and Co would kill these red shirts without any bother, but they actually struggled. They didn't kill anybody here.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They run. They get out the back. They're surrounded. A bunch of termites appear in the bushes. Put down your guns. Orders the four of them to lower them. You've got Rick goes in first, walks to the train car, ringleader, then the archer, then the samurai, then the kid. Right, we pointed this out watching this. Where they were was like a blind spot, and they all could have just ran away. Like, realistically, why would you openly get into this train car? You're being held fucking hostage, man. And to make matters worse,
Because they got them at gunpoint, could have just shot them they could have just shot them whenever they wanted to. So I understand why they're doing it. And he did give Rick a warning that if you don't do what I say, we're going to kill your kid.
what about the fan bam that's in the train car? Hey. All sitting in the corner like shite bags. So the four of them go in, turn right, and then to the left there's like 15 people. So God, I kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, so Rick closes the door, and then we see these figures appear from the shadows. It's Glenn, it's Maggie, and it's like, Rick, is that you? Then Rick's looking at them. They're all looking at each other. Rick gives Tara a look. Obviously, he knows Tara. He's seen Tara at the fences, but he doesn't point her out. Glenn says that these are our friends, but I mean, how will Rick feel about that? Not entirely sure. Then Rick is looking out through like the gaps in the cargo unit. What's it called? Container? Train car, whatever. And Rick's like, they don't know. And now they're gonna find it stupid when they find out.
Find out what? That they're screwing with the wrong people. Now, in the DVD version, he says they're fucking with the wrong people, which is so much better. Like, they're screwing with the wrong people. I think shows that don't use F-bombs find clever ways to get around, like, all-out swearing. But I think when you end a season on this line, you almost need to include the swear, don't you?
I'd say so.
Like, you're being held hostage, and like, there's this whole suspense about what Rick's going to say, and they're screwing with the wrong people. And that's where it ends. You know what? I thought it was a good episode, but for a season finale, it is a bit weak. Let's say, cliffhanger, next season, everyone's in a train car, but realistically, this final half of this season was just everyone getting to Terminus and not on a train car. Like, honestly, like, how many minutes has it been? So, 8 episodes, let's just say 40 minutes an episode, 45 minutes. I mean, we're looking at like 360 minutes or something. I mean, and how many of that is actual filler? If we're being truthful.
Most of it.
Most of it. It's a very poor half. Easily the weakest half of the show so far. But you know what? Decent enough cliffhanger. But I think this would be better for a penultimate episode. Wouldn't it?
The ending just didn't really do it for me. Rick saying they don't know who they're messing with, they don't know who they're screwing with. It's like, it didn't really do it for me.
Who he's screwing with, buddy. But that's where it's going to end. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for A.
I'll give it a 6 out of 10 as well. I wish the Claimers had lasted a wee bit longer. Or at least just give them a bit more of a role in the finale here. I think the whole scene with Rick could have lasted longer, or I think we could have seen them closing down Rick's group.
Could we have seen maybe Joe ended up in Terminus in some capacity?
Well, after he had his throat bit out,
maybe just change things a bit. Could the Claimers, what would they have been like in Terminus? Like, they're not for people like us, Daryl, that's for sure. But it's a 6 out of 10. What do you think the average rating for this season is going to be? I will work it out. I'm going to guess...
a 6 or 5. 5 or 6. Somewhere between 5 and 6.
5 and 6. I think it'll be less than that. I honestly think it'll be way less than that, to be honest. I mean, I think it'll probably be about a 4. I'm going to go with a 4.6. That's my prediction.
I'm going to say over 5.
The first half will save it, but this second half, there's been a lot of 3s and 4s. Let's not kid ourselves. But anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. That's it for A. Till next time, B.